Welcome back to Ring Talk after a couple of weeks hiatus whilst I went away and got my leg operated on, and we're back. And it's Josh's birthday, so he's away tonight, so the camera's being left unattended, so hopefully we'll do an alright job with it. So week 27, myself, Martin Theobald, and Steve Goodwin. A very tired, worn out Steve Goodwin.
Absolutely.
Living up to your "we never stop" tagline.
I did stop yesterday. Everything stopped functioning. The belly, everything didn't work from top to bottom. I was so ill. I didn't get out of bed till 6:30.
But I think that's a reflection on a weekend where you've done north-south, back down south again.
Wembley Stadium, out on the Thursday night, and I'm just too old to do all that in one hit. Too old. But sometimes you have to do it. I mean, I've got a break now. I'm on holiday for 2 weeks from Saturday, so
going anywhere?
Turkey.
Right, out to the house.
Out to the house. It's very nice. All the family going. So it's going to be great. We're looking forward to that. But this week I'm working on now. Well, this week, just working on the next fights for our fighters, and as you know, planning some big title fights for some of them. There's a hell of a lot going on, but I'm just working on it at the moment as we speak. Yeah.
So should we run through the weekend and the fighters you had involved up and down the country? So we'll start off the Friday night on the Hayemaker show. A few of your talents involved in title fights, progression fights. Some wins, some losses.
One loss.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, the
one loss. Yeah. I mean, the big fight with Sam Smith. We created an opportunity for Commonwealth title, just to let you know how it come about. With Sam, and she watches these and she knows.
Hi Sam.
Hi Sam. Hope you're having a good holiday, having a good break, recovery.
Deserved.
Yeah. Trained hard for that, and it was just going. But so we managed to get Hayemaker to agree to stage a Commonwealth title fight for Sam, and we then had to go and find somebody to fight her. And
which has to be approved by
the Commonwealth Council, so you're very limited in terms of what the records they've got to have. What we then found when we tried to go to the African countries is that the majority of the female boxers that were eligible were all in the middle of Ramadan.
Yeah.
So they couldn't box. So when we finished it all, we had one fighter, which was Anisha Bashir. Now we couldn't get footage of her. She'd lost her first 5, won her last 7 against nobodies. We could see she obviously banged. But that was it.
And then you're trusted on those box records being accurate, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's again, I think fairly accurate. But if you say to a fighter, look, we got this girl 7 and 5, won her last 7, as your problem, we haven't got footage. But if we don't take this fight, Sam, you're 38 years of age, we're not doing a Commonwealth title fight for you, because I can't guarantee that option will be there in September. You have to take it, and then. And unfortunately, we don't really still know how good Anisha Bashir is.
Yeah.
Because Sam just walked onto a shot. And I said to her, really, it's a shame, because we knew she was going to come out guns blazing, and Sam walked into that shot.
Yeah.
And when you walk into a shot, as you know, you've had it. And she walked in, got caught with two cracking shots.
But she could bang that lady.
But we knew that. So, what I was hoping was she was going to be ultra defensive in the first round or two and let her come and blow her windmills out, but unfortunately we walked into it. So we still don't know how good she is.
Yeah.
She may be the second coming from Africa, or she may not be very good, but we still don't know that. But for Sam, it was an opportunity that she loved, but obviously it didn't work out the way we hoped, so that was the negative of the night. Linus Udofia, who has since been, which was the news we were waiting to break for a while ago, he's now signed a promotional deal with Hayemaker.
Yep. Which one we teased a while back.
It just took forever, but they've signed him, so Linus now has a deal, which is part of what I try and explain to boxers when I manage them. It's about me getting them the best options with various promoters. It's not about them fighting on our shows all the time. Our shows are a development, and those that are good enough and deserve it will move on to bigger platforms. So Linus, he had a rocky first round, but then came through. I was very, very impressed with Tom Ansell. I think Tom Ansell is improving leaps and bounds. I thought he'd done well. Chris Davies started well. He's moved on now to 9-0. He's developing well, so I think he's going very well. George Fox made a good debut as a heavyweight.
Don Charles' son.
Don Charles' son. He showed good movement. He moves very well. He's very agile for a heavyweight. Seemed to, I think, obviously first fight knows. I think he seemed to not not have struggle a little bit stamina wise in the latter rounds, but that happens on Davies because of the
nervous energy.
Yeah, so I thought he made a really good debut, and I think he'll come on for that. And Brandon Ball went to 3-0 with an all-action performance, and Brandon again has to be brought along slowly, but I'm sure he can make big waves in boxing.
Brandon?
He's 20, I think.
He looks very young, doesn't he? He's got a baby face about him.
But he needs time. He needs time. Might be 21, but he needs time, and he will do it. But we've just got to be patient and do it slowly but surely, and build him to the right level at the right time. And we're coming along. So that all the lads done.
And Eric Mokonzo as well.
Eric Mokonzo, he fought really well against Cody Davies. Yep. And the interesting factor is Eric now wants to be a champion, not the opponent. And Eric will be in the home corner on the 15th of September. And I'm telling you this, if he can stick at that for a year, he'll be a Southern Area champion minimum, Eric Mokonzo. You might think I'm crazy. Anybody wants to bet with me, they can come and bet with me. I'll have even money that Eric Mokonzo becomes a Southern Area champion.
I know someone who trains Eric and helps train Eric, and says that he's been training exceptionally hard.
Yeah.
And you can see that in his physique on Friday night.
If that had been 8 rounds, Cody Davies wouldn't have been able to run like he did. I think Cody Davies is a very good talent, but he was boxing and running, and that was okay for 4 rounds. But I think over 8 rounds, Eric would have got closer and closer to him. Yeah. And I know they gave Eric a share of 1 round. I thought he probably could have. He was a bit closer than that, but Cody deserved to win. But I think Eric showed that he can well hold his own when he becomes in the home corner. So looking forward to Eric now building up some confidence in the home corner.
Yeah. Going back to the news about Linus and the Hayemaker side of it, I think it's quite a significant move in terms of, I think we discussed this before, but you've had say Frank Buglioni that you'd taken on and became British champion immediately almost. Mm-hmm. Dereck Chisora, who's at that level somewhere between British and world, and kind of he's floating about there. Mm-hmm. Nicola Adams, who's up near the world title scene. Mm-hmm. You've grown champions from almost debut for some of them through to English Southern area. Linus is another first, I guess, isn't it? That you've taken him from debut, built him and handed him over to a promoter that can put him on a TV platform. But that's the first one that you've kind of taken organically from day one.
But you've had to, with the others, have to have second-hand fighters as such. But we can do that. We have to build up the relationships with the promoters and then develop the talent. And it's something that I expect to happen more frequently on an ongoing basis, that we will be able to develop these talents and put them through to promoters. That's the key. The key is to get the talents at the right place and then make sure that they've learned. Linus has learned marketing. He's learned how to market himself, how to sell himself. He's learning the skills in the ring. He's developing a package that we can market on. And that's what boxers have to understand. It isn't just about the ring. It's about what they do outside the ring, about their marketability. And that's what he's done. And he's an example of what we will be able to achieve. But the boxers have to work with us on that. But that's my plan. My plan is to be able to put boxers onto various TV platforms. It doesn't, as long as it doesn't matter which one, as long as it makes sense for the boxer to do that.
Yeah, and it can be fluid as well, can't it? As in, it will go. Somebody could go to Sky or BT or Hey, on Channel 5 or Dave or wherever he's residing.
We want to work with everybody that wants to work with us and that has our vision. And our vision is, and I think we spoke about this before, I don't want boxers signed to crazy long-term contracts where there's a strangle on them. So I want them under relatively shorter term contracts.
Flexible.
Where they're a bit more flexible. I think when you get, I also understand that when promoters are going to invest their money in a fighter, they're going to want some sort of extra clauses or terms in it, and I think that's fine as well. But I think it's very important that, especially for somebody like Linus, is that he gets a fair deal, the promoter's fair to him, and that as he progresses through, he can renegotiate the terms of the contract, because his worth will increase with time. And that's important for people to understand that a boxer has a value, and the value can go up and down. But if you have belief in yourself as a fighter, then you're going to want to keep reviewing that value and go up. If you don't believe in yourself, sign yourself up for 20 years, because then you're going to be covering yourself with the value. But if you really believe you're good, you don't need to sign for 20 years.
Yeah.
You can sign for, I'm just giving you an example, you can sign for 2 fights, 3 fights, 1 fight, 4 fights, whatever it may well be, and then develop through that and renegotiate.
Yeah. So a Goodwin fighter who had a big fight announced recently was Dereck Chisora.
Yeah.
We'll touch on that one quickly. Carlos Takam.
That was Dereck called that out, you know. He was offered. We originally offered the David Price fight.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first fight we were offered.
And then it's what he said no, or
For the same reason, he didn't want Joe Joyce.
yeah.
What Dereck said was, like, I didn't particularly want Joe Joyce unless they're going to pay me a shed load of money, because it didn't actually get him anywhere.
Doesn't gain anything.
Neither has beating David Price. What does it gain apart from money? So he would rather take the Takam fight for less money, because even though he's a more dangerous fight than he could lose, technically, people have an opinion Takam wins that fight because the reward of winning is huge.
Yeah.
So the man's a warrior. He wants to take the toughest fight that gains him the greatest prize at the end of it. It'll put him in the world top 4 or 5, probably in most bodies. So it puts him above Caballero, who he had that disaster against in Monaco.
I think it's a great fight. It's 2 old dogs. It's 2 old dogs that, like, they're just gonna Takam. I don't think we necessarily saw the best of Takam against Joshua short notice. Depending on what you believe about Hearn's narrative of he had the full training camp. I'm not convinced he did. Takam's quite a slick boxer, and Dereck's he'll grind you down, he'll sit on your chest. I think that'd be a great fight.
I think it's a fight of the night.
Yeah, I think it'd be great fun.
It's a better fight than Dillian Joseph Parker by a long way, I think. So Dereck wanted that fight, and I'll tell you, Frank Buglioni's also on the card as well.
Oh, there's a question actually about Frank.
Yeah, Frank's on the card. He's on the card. So I've got Dereck and Frank on that card at the O2.
Is there an opponent?
No, he's only going to have an 8-rounder.
Okay.
And then we were offered for Frank the Hosea Burton rematch on that card.
That's what my question's about.
Oh, was it? We were actually offered that fight on the card, but there's no way as a manager, and Frank gets it as well, that you're going to have what happened to him against Callum Johnson and put him straight into Burton. Once we get rid of this fight out of the way, then Burton definitely is on the agenda if that's what he wants, or any of the other light heavyweights that offer something to us. So, you know, we're still moving in that right direction, but we want to take the right fights at the right time. So we just want this blowout, and after we get this fight out of the way, then we're ready for Burton. Yeah. I think we beat Burton again, and then we'll move on from there.
So we'll go back to Saturday night up in Newcastle, which I also travelled up for, just to go on the piss actually, rather than you were there.
What was it like up there in Newcastle? Did you?
It's brilliant. I've got a mate who lives in Tynemouth. I'm not sure which way.
You knew where to go.
I didn't know, but we got there, jumped on the metro, got into Newcastle Centre, straight there, a few beers, straight back out.
That's the problem with me. When I go up there, I can't drink, can I? Yeah. Because I'm working. Yeah. I've got to look after them.
Yeah, no, I had great fun.
I used to go boxing and have a good drink and go, I can't do it anymore.
It's the first time I've done it in ages, actually. But yeah, they went out in Tynemouth after, so the people at Tynemouth were brilliant. It was a great night. And then went for a walk along the beach. Sounds very romantic. Me and my mate James, 3 o'clock in the morning, walked his dog, pissed up.
You had a good time, that's the main thing.
Yeah, it was great fun. But yeah, on a more work-related note, Arfan Iqbal up there defending his English cruiserweight title against Simon Valilly. What did you make of it?
I want to see him at light heavyweight. I think Valilly had 2 points taken off. Without that, Arfan would have lost a unanimous decision.
It's also worth noting Valilly reasonably could have been disqualified out of that fight. I'm not making any reasoning for the Arfan performance or anything like that, but there was a good case he could have been thrown out of that.
Oh, for sure, but whether he gets thrown out or not,
it doesn't change that Arfan should be at light heavy.
I mean, Arfan doesn't agree, but I think he should be. I think at light heavy, I think Arfan would be British champion and beyond, without any doubt whatsoever. Yeah. I think he beats them all. At cruiserweight, though, I think he's vulnerable to the bigger men who have got a lot of stamina, a lot of reach, a lot of size on him. And I think he's restricted as a cruiserweight because I don't honestly think, with all due respect to Simon Valilly, that Simon Valilly is a top-notch cruiserweight. For example, I believe that someone like Dion Juma would beat Simon Valilly today, no problem. and I think there are many others that would beat him today. I think he's got vulnerabilities, and it wasn't the same Arfan that fought Wadi Camacho that was in with Simon Valilly. So Arfan against Wadi Camacho was far superior, but that may be that Wadi Camacho was coming forward and walking onto it, whereas Valilly was using his size to keep him off and tie him up close in. So I mean, I don't know what Arfan wants to do going forward, but I would love to see him come down to light heavyweight.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, probably from a balance perspective, what was interesting was that although Valilly looked like the physical monster in there, it was actually him who seemed to tire and gas out earlier than Arfan did. Arfan, by the 10th round, I think, looked like a man who probably, he wanted that fight to end when he was getting hit clean by that 10th round. And whether he's got an iron chin, I don't know. He's a seriously tough man, is Arfan.
100%.
But he was getting hit clean in that 10th round, and he was still in there. But it looked to me like he wanted the fight to end sooner than Valilly, possibly.
Yeah, Valilly came on in the last round.
Yeah, but through rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I'd say Arfan was actually he had the better engine on him going through that. If he could get that down to light heavyweight with the same power and the same explosiveness,
I think his engine would be better at light heavyweight because he's carrying, in my opinion,
£25 less
weight. And I think he'd be sensational at light heavyweight. And his trainer Clifton Mitchell was of the same opinion.
Yeah.
And I honestly think Arfan could be a sensation at light heavy. I mean, Matthew Macklin said it on Sky Television. He thought he could be a super middleweight, let alone light heavyweight. But I think at the end of the day, that's up to Arfan what he wants to do. He's a very good cruiserweight, but he could be an excellent light heavyweight.
Yeah.
And it's up to him what he wants to do.
Yeah. And did you hang around for the rest of that show?
No, I left and went to be honest, I wasn't really interested in it. I went into Newcastle to try and get some food, and I've got to criticise Newcastle because I was with Josh and we thought we'll go out and eat and we went into 5 restaurants and there was no aircon on.
In any?
And then we thought, I saw Casper's, I thought I'll just go and have a dessert.
Yeah.
No aircon. So we ended up going to a kebab shop and just getting a kebab and then going back to the hotel and watched the fights on the iPad. But I really didn't want to see Gavin McDonald, Stuart Hall.
Oh, it was.
I thought myself that would be. I'd rather slip my wrist and go and watch that.
You know when you're in the boxing and you're weighing up, when am I going to have a piss break? When am I going to go to the bar? I know it's going to be 20 minutes at the bar. I might as well stay there whilst that fight's on because it was dishwater bad.
I knew it would be bad, and then I mean Lewis Ritson. I love Lewis Ritson. I'm a big fan. I've been a fan of him for ages, and but again, I think I was happy to watch it on the telly. I think that unless you've got a good seat, right, and when you're the manager of boxing, you don't actually have a seat there.
Yeah.
So you've either got to sit around and try and find a spare seat. So it's not that comfortable to sit there. So I'm not going to go and pay 250 quid for a ticket.
Yeah.
So I'm only really. So what are you going to do? You're going to sit there. So you don't get a seat. So I thought rather than do that, I'll just go and watch it. So we watched the Ritson fight on the telly. I had no interest in McDonald Hall and Josh Kelly. Great technician, but doesn't float my boat to watch him particularly. But he's a brilliant boxer. But it's not somebody that excites me to watch. For a boxer to excite me now, there has to be something about them to excite me.
Yeah.
And the only fight that excited me on that card was the Ritson Highland fight.
Yeah, I mean being in there. Being in the arena for that Ritson fight, those Newcastle fans are incredible, absolutely incredible, and respect to any of that Newcastle lot, because that atmosphere as he was making his ring walk was like nothing I've seen. I've been to hundreds of fight nights over the years. That was like nothing. That's probably Hatton in his prime.
See, I think he could end up being like that because I think everybody's going to get behind him. And I'd like to go and watch a bit. I would go and watch a bit some fun, but I'd make sure I got a ticket. I don't want to be seat hopping or.
You want to be on the piss for the evening, and
it's one of them.
Go and enjoy it.
But when you're sitting there, you can't. Yeah, you're going there as a matter of work. So you just think, well, I've been at the Hayemaker show on Friday night, and I couldn't. And I knew Ritson was on late in the car, but I just didn't want to sit through Hall and McDonald and hang around there. So I thought I'll go off.
Yeah, but no, it was. They're building something very, very good with Lewis Ritson. But when Josh Kelly came out, the whole whole atmosphere got sucked out of that place.
Do you know what? Why did they have him on last?
It's an interesting point. He's not even from Newcastle. He's from Sunderland.
I know.
And so all that local support, all that, all the energy that came with Lewis Ritson, there isn't that same attachment to a guy from their local rivals.
You've got to remember, he also trains down in with at the booth in Surrey, so he's not going to have the same. I didn't really get why Josh Kelly was main event, unless that was part of his contractual agreement, because sometimes it is, because the main event gets paid more than the sub main event, and there can be a sort of there's a sliding scale on what they get paid. So perhaps that's what it was. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was the fight that I wanted to watch. But he was great. But I'm often, unless I've got a good seat, then I'd rather watch boxing on television.
It's always a better view at home, to be fair.
When I went to Hayemaker, for example, David very kindly, we had some good ringside seats, so that was really kind of him to give us that, and that was great. I enjoyed that night. But I don't really enjoy boxing if I've got an allocated.
You try to look around people.
Yeah, I don't really enjoy that, so I'd rather watch it on the telly.
Yeah, but. Yeah, no, it was a good evening. Charlie Edwards was very good as well, I thought.
Yes, he was good. But then the thing about that fight, that I wasn't bothered about, it was a mismatch.
Yeah.
So it was always going to be that. So Nelson had been out of the ring for ages, had suffered depression, was not bothered any, was trying his best, but it was fried dice. He was out of his depth. So that didn't float my boat. So to sit around there, it wasn't the thing.
Yeah.
If you're doing what you were doing, I get it. But for me, and I was knackered from the night before. I remember I got home from the York Hall at 1:30 and was up again the next morning at 7 o'clock.
For a 4-hour drive.
5-hour drive it took me to get there. And I had to get back for cheering on Sunday, so it was a long time. So yeah, it was. So
let's move on. What's going on with Goodwin boxing at the moment? So there's a few fights.
Yeah, I can announce.
I can't remember which ones you said you're allowed to announce and which ones you're not.
So let's say the ones that we can announce at the moment. We can announce that Prospere will fight Danny Connor, which I think is a cracking fight on the 22nd of September.
What's interesting, I remember it was one of the Hay comeback fights, either the Cobra or Mark Demori, and that fight was being talked about then at that point, because I remember having a conversation with Kev Campion at the O2. And he was saying that they'd been chirping off at one another on social media. And Kev was saying at the time, we'd take that fight tomorrow. This one, Kay was a bit inexperienced. And Danny was experienced at that time, he's experienced now, but Kay's come on since then as well.
They're doing a head-to-head, Martin, that you'll be...
Are they?
Danny has said one of the conditions of doing the fight, he wants a head-to-head with Kay.
Oh shit, I better not talk bad about it.
He's going to give you some stick. Kay's up for it as well. They're going to do a head-to-head because there's a bit of rivalry there, because if you remember, Danny Connor, Michael Devine has been a bit juicy, and so Danny Connor against the Luton, remember he's called all the Luton people retards or whatever he called them? Well, Kay Prosper was also from Luton, so there's a rekindling of that. So it's going to be quite a juicy fight. I really like Danny. But he's good for boxing. And
I'll say now, I reckon Danny's got the better trash talk out of the two of them.
Oh, I think
Kay's a respectful, well thought out, but likes to sit on the fence. Danny doesn't sit on the fence.
No, it's going to go. But I think it's a great fight, be a great lead up. It's an English title eliminator, and it's on the 22nd of September. So that fight we can announce. We're also working on a really exciting defence of the Southern Area title for Jumanne Camero. Now, the story behind Jumanne Camero, so everybody knows, is Boy Jones Jr. was the mandatory, and the Boy Jones Jr. manager asked for the purse bids to be suspended for 1 month so that Boy Jones would be ready for the fight. And very shortly before purse bids were open, they withdrew him from the fight.
So why delay it for the month?
You tell me, why do you think? Because it's quite nice. Maybe why would you mess somebody about? By that, I mean, you only need to ask a question, but not. I mean, and again, I've met Ben Jones. He's a nice kid. So again, I just think it's awful. Well, as it happened, it didn't matter because Jumanne was due to fight Michael Devine, and Michael's obviously got had a medical issue, so the fight was cancelled. So it didn't actually slow Jumanne down. But Jumanne's had a bit of bad luck there with Devine, Michael being injured, and then messing around with Boy Jones.
And Jumanne's such a nice bloke. Don't mess Jumanne about.
And it's not nice, is it? It's just not nice. But some people do like messing people about. They seem to get a sick enjoyment out of it. But as far as Jumanne is now concerned, we've got a fight made. but out of respect to the British Boxing Board of Control, I won't announce that fight until they've approved it. I think it's fairly sure that they will approve it, but it is I told you the fight, right?
Yep.
It's a really good fight, and that will take place on the Amy Sinfield card on the 15th of September, and it is a cracking fight.
Yep.
Cracking fight. So that fight's about to be done. We've also got the light heavyweight fight cup, which is going to come out. It's 4 fighters in a competition.
So for those who didn't see it before, you did the Cruiserweight Fight Cup that's won by Carl Wheeler-Myers, wasn't it?
And then Danny Cousins won the second.
Danny Cousins won the second, yeah. Which was in the Southern Area shot.
Yeah, so this one is, as we stand at the moment, it's not totally finalised yet, but it's likely to be Jordan Joseph, who fought for the Southern Area title.
And also fought Boazzi, didn't he?
Fought Boazzi. Duane Sinclair, 8-0, but making really good progress.
Who trained with Boazzi.
Yeah. Darrel Church, who has come through a fight with Jordan Joseph and has shown massive improvement since. Dominic Felix from he lives in Northampton, but also trains in London, and John McCallum is reserve.
Okay.
So if any of the 4 pull out, John McCallum will step in. So that is the competition as we stand at the moment. So there are going to be fights will be on probably the 8th of September, one of the semi-finals, and the other one will probably be the 15th of September, with the final to take place in the beginning of December.
Okay. So I know Duane and John McCallum are having a bit of back and forth, so if he ends up being drafted in, then
that could go off. So that's very possible. So we've got that to look forward to. So we're working on that. We're also working on a couple of one big cruiserweight fight that you should know about. And again, that's a cracking fight, isn't it?
It is.
But I can't actually announce that yet, but we're working on that. By the time I get back from holiday, we should be able to announce that. But what's basically happened with Goodwin boxing shows over the last 12 months is that we had a period where we had lots of really good title fights, and those fighters then moved on or came to the end of the careers, like Leon McKenzie. Some of the others have been going on the David Hayes shows. But so what we've had is a lot of progressive fighters coming through, like the Linus Udofias of this world, who now will be fighting under the David Hayes shows. But we're now getting to the stage where a lot of our fighters are getting towards the title contention, so our shows are going to come back to be filled with really good title fights as well as the undercard fights. So we've had a lull, probably Goodwin boxing shows for a period of months where the top of the cards haven't been the quality that we'd ideally want, but we're going to benefit from that in 2019 and the end of 2018 for sure. Some absolutely amazing fights going to come.
So there's a lot of seeds being planted that you'll be able to hopefully,
some great fights coming through for title fights, and I think we're looking at lots of the titles where we're aiming for, whether they be English, Commonwealth, Southern Area, British, and we've got lots of fighters now coming through for those sort of titles. So it's going to be, and we're targeting where we believe we can win them. We've also got obviously Wadi Camacho against Linus Okolie, but we'll see which way that goes. That's for the Commonwealth title, and they are due to stage that in September, October. But we intend to outbid Eddie Hearn for the fight. So I hope Anthony Joshua is looking forward to coming to a Goodwin show.
He can come and sit on my table next to me. I'll let him.
Yeah, but we intend. I know what Eddie's going to pay for it, but we're going to pay more. So I hope. There is no. And if they want to pay Wadi significant money, other than that, we're going to purse bids because we've got. It's really good. We've got a local company, massive company, the local but big around. That want to sponsor some big fights,
right? And
they're putting the money up. So they're going to be putting up the money for 3 or 4 fights over the next 12 months, and it's a substantial 6-figure sums in total. And they will be sponsoring the bigger fights, and they will apparently be able to get these fights potentially onto television, and they've got an arrangement to do that. So with that money behind us, they've said to me, Okolie Camacho, we want their fight. So
you can go buy it. So hopefully.
But we want to go for purse bids. So the thing is, no offence to Eddie on the Matchroom, but on the other hand, if we want the fight on our card, that's our prerogative, and it's up to if Eddie wants to give enough money to bid for it, then it's great.
So how that would work then is that the purse bids would come through for the Commonwealth, unless you can come to an arrangement beforehand.
But it's unlikely.
So your money goes in. Say you win it. At that point, Okolie either has to come to your call on a Saturday night, potentially off TV.
Potentially off TV.
Yeah, potentially. I'm not saying it's definitely.
It may be off TV. Yeah, maybe.
Potentially off TV. with no ticket allocation, all sold to Wadi and his fans and general boxing fans, or he has to duck Wadi and drop the belt and go elsewhere.
It's his choice.
Okay.
I'd be delighted to have Lawrence Okolie on our show. I like Lawrence. He's a nice guy.
I know.
But it'd be great to see Anthony Joshua's fight on our show.
Yeah. No, I do like Lawrence actually. He's a really nice guy, and I know his stablemate Umar Sadiq, who's a really nice guy.
We also intend to stage it on the 22nd of September. So if anybody's watching, that's the show that we're going to be meeting for. It's a date that I'm promoting myself. So this is why I don't do many shows a year, but I've got the K Prospere Danny Connor fight.
You take the big one.
I'll take the big one. So I'm aiming for if it goes to Prospere, I'm aiming for the Okolie Wadi Camacho fight to be on the 22nd.
There you go, Lawrence, getting camp. 22nd September. See you then.
That's the plan.
Excellent. Right, I think that's it in terms of the Goodwin news, is it?
I think it is pretty much, yeah.
I'm going to quickly, because I'm all professional tonight, get my phone. I've got the questions. We've had quite a few. So, as always, thank you very much to anyone that sent one. And we'll start from the top of the ones I've got. So, a question from @BadNewsBrown999 on Twitter. Why do we use referees or judges from countries not really known for boxing, like that Italian ref in the Parker versus AJ fight?
Well, that's to do with the fact that these referees all signed to the EBU and are recognised judges. So they will therefore, the governing bodies will therefore use those various referees that are supposed to be impartial. The problem that you have is that and the argument is that these referees are not good enough to do the job, but they are sanctioned by the local commissions. So in that case, it'd be the Italian Boxing Authority. And if any governing body feels that Italy don't provide a significant quality of ref, they should strike them off.
Yeah.
But whilst they are accepted into the European Union, those referees are deemed of appropriate standard, it's always going to happen.
Is there a case for, isn't a question, I just thought of it now, is there a case at all that you can think of for VAR being used in boxing, which is very hot in terms of the England game last night, where Kane got rugby tackled in the penalty area? Is there any case... I'm trying to think, referees don't typically miss that much.
Well, let's take Miles Shinkwin, Liam Conroy.
Well, actually, yeah, that's a fair one.
That's a good one, because that, in effect, the board have ordered a rematch. The problem you've got with the VAR, it depends on who's VAR in. Steve Gray, for example, scored Arfan Iqbal against Valilly in 96-92.
Yeah.
When I saw Steve Gray was refereeing, I knew we won down. I knew it would be one down, because he does tend to score. I think it's true. Without, and I'm not saying for 1 second that he is a biased referee or a biased judge, but he tends to score for home fighters in the north of England, and maybe he's more influenced by the crowd than others are.
Yeah.
So I knew with Steve Gray that wasn't an advantageous referee from our perspective. If we'd been the home fighter up there, I'd been happy to see.
Delighted to see him.
But I mean, I know Clifton Mitchell went and had a bit of a word with him afterwards.
He's not a man I want having a word with me.
No, he did have a word with him.
I'm going to be honest. Clifton Mitchell coming and have a word with me.
Terrifying, isn't he?
It's not on my to-do list.
But I think he told Steve Gray what he thought about his scoring, which you couldn't have given that to Valilly by 6 rounds without the deduction. That's what he was doing. It's just impossible to score that.
Yeah. I had Clifton come and sit next to me during Jermaine Smile, Leon McKenzie.
Right, yeah.
And you know, when like somebody was sat behind you, I could hear this foghorn behind me shouting abuse throughout. After about 2 rounds, I turned around and realised it was Clifton. I thought, I'm not getting involved. And then he comes and sits on the little press table thing, and I'm like, I can't tell you to move, can I?
But going back to the VAR, if Steve Gray was looking at a VAR, right, it's potential that he would rule that was correct. And I think to re-look at something like that, which was continual punches on the back of the head, it's not going to be instantaneous. That needs to be something that's done on reflection. Yeah. And I think with boxing, you have to look back at something and look and see what goes on. Some of the scoring you see in boxing, and it's all over the country and all over the world, is so bad. But yeah, you can't change the result, but maybe these referees and judges that misscore like this and are so way out, perhaps they shouldn't be allowed to judge or suspended or sent on courses of outscore or something.
In the Premier League, they just send them down a level, don't they?
I think they should do that in boxing, because there are so many, at the end of the day, you can't have that big a discrepancy. You shouldn't have. I think one gave it to Arfan by a point, one gave it level, and one gave it to Valilly by 4. Now, you can't be that wrong, that wide of the mark. You can't. So you need to reflect. And if a referee, and I'm not saying it's Steve all the time, but if a referee is continuously judging and he's that wide of the mark all of the time, I think you've got to pull him in.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on from that subject. On to the next question. If I can find it. From Paul Oldtie, looking at the current landscape of small hall shows, does Steve feel there is anyone matching the product he does, and what does he feel is the Goodwin USP?
What's USP?
Unique selling point.
Oh, unique selling point, okay.
Talking in acronyms.
Yeah. Well, our shows, it depends on what you're talking about. If we're talking in management, I don't believe that anybody does what we do as a manager. I think that we take fighters on, we don't tie them up with extra long periods of contract, we move them on fairly, don't charge them lots of money, and we manage them with all the greatest intentions and to the best of our ability. And so I don't think anybody that I know does what we do managerially wise for the money that we take from boxers. I
think what I see with you guys, you give them a good blend, a good mix of freedom and guidance.
Yeah.
So it's not complete freedom to go and, ruin yourselves on social media or whatever, be a total idiot. But there's enough freedom that you're not going to hang yourself with it, with enough guidance that somebody doesn't, because it's a very difficult sport to go into cold, because somebody that's come out of the amateurs suddenly has to try and sell 100 tickets, has to try and build up that interest in themselves, and actually having that guidance is imperative to them.
Yeah, we try to do that, and I think that's helpful. And I think our unique point is that we offer a family type based community, so the boxers they feel there's places to go and a warmth around them, and that they've got proper guidance, and they're not, and it's for their own, every bit of advice is for their own interest rather than for somebody else's
financial gain for somebody else.
And I think that's definitely the unique selling point. So I presume that's the question, but because our management is a skill, and the shows, well, they are. What we won't do though is we're not going to put the wrong fight. Others do. They'll put the wrong fights on for their boxers just to enhance the show.
Yeah.
Right. We're not going to do that. We're going to make, first and foremost, we put the right fights on for the boxers, and if that then fits in with the show, that's fine. But it has been sometimes, like for the last few months, when we've been doing the Goodwin boxing shows, that there haven't been maybe the best of fights for the public in those little areas for reasons I said. But we weren't going to put our boxers in the wrong fights just to boost the bill up.
Yeah.
So we're very, very intent that we want to put the right fights on. And now, with all the ones coming through, that should happen now naturally.
And does that mean sometimes in that scenario, Goodwin boxing as a business has to take a financial hit?
Yes.
Because you're not, you could go out and make that 50-50 there, but instead you want to give them both the experience so it's more worthwhile when they can do it for a title.
Well, each individual promoter may take a loss on a show, and they may do that, but in the long term it's about doing the right things. And I think if you do the right things in life, everything will always come out right. Don't worry about short-term numbers for anybody, even if they're promoting or managing. I mean, managing costs me money.
Yeah.
I lose money managing fighters, but in the long term, what does it do? It gets you bigger names coming on board. It gets you the fact that you are able then to go to the other promoters such as Hayes and Sowlands and build up those shows. So it's all for the long term. But what we're able to do, because there was no pressure financially on me, for example, and even those promoting the shows, they're educated well enough to know how and I teach each promoter all the way to do it and how to try and make the figures work and get them sponsorship and everything like that. So it's all about doing that. So it's not about it's about the long-term game, because who would have said 2 years ago we'd be working alongside David Hay, we'd be asked to work with Sounds on the World Super Series and blah blah blah. So that we are working and it's growing, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, cool. Moving on. Is the White versus Parker fight card worthy of pay-per-view? Yes, with Chisora Takam.
Without Chisora Takam, no. Do you know the problem with the problem that you've got is if you're making these normal fight nights, there is a cost to these fights they're putting on. If you look at so let's go through the card.
Parker White at the top.
Parker White at the top. No, I don't think that's a pay-per-view fight. I don't think it's that great a fight. But the problem is Dylan owns the show, right? And I'm told today by Matchroom that tickets are nearly sold out. That's what they told me when I've tried to get tickets.
Have StubHub got any available?
I find it astonishing. I'm really surprised that show sold out. I didn't think it was a sellout, that sort of show sell. I thought it would struggle to sell. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, but let's just say that I'm very surprised that that's the case. I thought it would struggle. But so I don't believe that that's because it's not for a world title, right? It's not a world title.
It's not even a final eliminator, from what I understand.
It's a heavyweight fight. Right? And it's not, so I don't, but it's pay-per-view if people are going to pay for it. But the problem that I've got with pay-per-views, and I've listened to the early interviews on pay-per-view as to why they are pay-per-view, but to me we're getting to the stage where, little by little, the standard of the pay-per-view is decreasing, and they're leading towards getting to the American model where people will start to accept anything as pay-per-view. So without White Takam on that show, I can't see that as pay-per-view. The only fight I think is really worthy of pay-per-view is Chisora against Takam. I mean the White fight's not a bad fight, but it's not Dylan White against.
I think there's a problem, probably self-made by Eddie, that the fact that he does so well for his fighters, because Dillian White's been on big purses for a while now, almost shoots himself in the foot that you can't then afford to make a big fight like Parker, which is a big fight, granted it's for no title, but you probably can't afford to pay Dillian and Joseph what they need without doing it.
Correct.
Which is a problem of your own making, for the fact that you've looked after those fighters so well.
And I think he does look, and I think he does look up, generally looks after a lot of the fighters really well. So, but it is a problem in that their expectation of purses of that fight is far in excess of what that fight is really worth. And so they're going to be paid. Then it filters down to the next level. But when you look at the undercard, Conor Benn, Cedric Pino. I mean, I'm quite interested to watch it again, but it's only
You're interested to watch it, but it's not even an area level fight.
Joshua White, see Ricky Summers. Not really. What else is on? Kell Brook against somebody who beats easily. Not relevant. Who else is on?
Katie Taylor, world title fight.
Against somebody that's not very good. And then you've got Dereck's fight, and you've got the top of the fight. Is it pay-per-view? It's obviously pay-per-view because people are going to pay for it. And if people are going to pay for it, it's up to them.
That's from Josh Finch. Sorry, Josh, I forgot to mention.
So sorry if I waffled a lot, but for me, my issue is it's devaluing. We're going to get to the stage where we're going to be like America soon, where everything's pay-per-view, and that's going to be annoying.
Oscar Smith, we kind of covered this earlier, but Will K. Prospere versus Cassius Connor, BBFC has it on 22nd September. Be a final eliminator or just an eliminator? And why can't K just fight Samo Mason rather than fight this guy who was TKO'd in his last fight? Let's not wind Danny up already.
Right, let's go through this. We asked Samo Mason to come to London to fight K. Prospere. I asked Ryan Rhodes how much money he wanted for the fight.
Because he's Sheffield based, isn't he?
Yeah, so I said to Ryan, how much do you want? He said, we want between and So I said, we'll do that. I said, rather than me offer you money, tell me what you want, we'll do the fight. So he said, I would think we'll want between that and that. I said, we'll do it. And he kept
so for a straight shot of the English.
I said, but we'll pay that. And that was over what you'd pay, right? Then 48 hours later, Ryan comes back and the price had changed. Now the price was too high. So it was in effect what's happened. They thought, we don't want the fight, and price ourselves out of it. So we want to fight the champion. So I've gone to the board. We tried to make a fight, and we went to the board and asked them to make it a final eliminator. The board have decided that they'll only sanction it as an eliminator. So Kay said, well, I'll just do the fight anyway because the fight was made. And hopefully when he's now won 2 eliminators, the board will say, we want to go for Samo Mason, because I want the fight with Samo Mason now to go to purse bids. Because what they're requesting is unreasonable, in my opinion. If they think that it's worth that money, let them bid for it. and then they can pay if they think it's worth that, and we'll go to purse bids, because my money's a real money. When we offer money, it's real, and we were offering a good amount of money for in my opinion, more than what the fight's worth without going on Sky.
Yeah,
because I know what Eddie pays on Sky, right? And we're not miles off. My offer was not that much off what Sky would pay, and theirs was right near what Sky would pay. So I think we'll send it to purse bids, but I can't do anything about the Same Amazing fight unless Kay gets made mandatory.
Yeah.
That's my problem. So I have tried to make Amazon. Danny Connor, though, to be fair to him, only lost in that last fight because he hadn't had the preparation and blah blah. He's a quality fighter.
He changed trainer, didn't he?
He's a quality fighter, Danny Connor. This is going to be a really, really cracking fight. But Danny thinks he's going to win. Kay thinks he's going to win, and hopefully, if Kay wins, he'll get an opportunity. If Danny does happen to cause what I believe would be an upset, but Danny would not agree with that, then Danny's career gets a chance of going forward. So they both have a chance of going forward, and they've both been totally reasonable in their expectations on the financial deal, because Danny's totally reasonable. He's a reasonable guy like that. And hopefully the winner will end up, the board will say, well look, we'll give that winner a shot at Sarah Maison, because we're not going to. You can't be, because somebody's got a voluntary, you're not going to be blackmailed into it.
Yeah. And
I remember the same thing, right? This is true before I go on. When Liam Conroy beat Joel McIntyre, we went up north. We then asked Liam Conroy to come down south, right, to defend his title. And he asked for a substantial amount of money. Liam Conroy is now was sent out to purse bids with Miles Shinkwin, right? Liam Conroy is now fighting for about 18% of what they asked for to come to London. Seriously, 18%.
Yeah.
So Liam Conroy, because we've made it go to purse bids, Liam Conroy's had to take 18% of what was asked for to come to London, right?
Yeah.
So why not be more reasonable in the first place?
Yeah.
So therefore, my attitude is, we're one of those that will put the money up. But if you ask for something unreasonable, let's go to purse bids, right?
Yep.
And then we'll see who's going to pay the money. We want to make the fights Okolie. We want to make the fight Sam Amazing Co-Prosper. But we sometimes can't make it because people mess around with money and don't come down. Because maybe I shouldn't have said, yeah, we'll pay that so easily.
It's like when you ask for 50 million quid and it's going to fight in America and then duck out of it.
Yeah, same thing.
Right,
that's exactly the same thing, right?
Question from Lead Right, Riku. Does Steve feel like the next gen shows in York Hall are pushing up the bar for small hall shows, and does it help or hinder small hall promoters?
I think all boxing that's competitive is great.
Yeah.
And I think as I've always said, I think Eddie Hearn has been a breath of fresh air for boxing and has done great things, and most of his stuff has been good. And I think the fact they bring next gen in and they develop the fights is great. And there's some good fights on there. Great, fantastic. And I think anything that's good for boxing helps to sell on. The negative is, if Eddie Hearn runs an next-gen show on the Wednesday and there's a small hall show at York Hall within 10 days, then to a certain extent the smaller hall promoter with the slightly less names on the show may struggle a bit. But that's life. But I think for the overall thing of boxing, I think it can only help.
I think as long as people are realistic and realise that you're working within two different budgets.
Yeah.
So if people start saying, well, Eddie managed to get this fight and this fight and this fight on there, you think, yeah, that's fine, but with the TV money that's backing it.
Exactly.
As long as people keep their expectations realistic.
Yeah, totally agree.
Another question. What's Steve's thoughts on being a joint promoter and manager for a fighter at the highest level? Is it a conflict of interest?
Well, being a joint, so do you mean joint with somebody else, or do they mean
doing the same promoter and manager from the same person? Yeah, I didn't clarify with it.
Well, let's look at it in two ways. I think, without a doubt, and what I've seen that goes on, if you have a manager and promoter at the highest level, it's a massive problem.
Yeah.
Massive problem.
Which is what the Muhammad Ali Act stops from happening in America. And it shouldn't
be allowed. But then the problem that you've got is all you then get is wives setting up businesses, promoting, and somebody managing. But in principle, I know for a fact, and I've got loads of examples where that is appalling, and where it doesn't work. And it doesn't work it doesn't actually work at most levels. And where we are doing small hall stuff, because there's not vast amounts of money flying about, I don't think there's really a problem. If you become a higher level promoter where there's bigger money, it isn't a conflict if the person is really ethical.
Which are taking a punt on them doing so.
Which is, and how many people are going to be really ethical? If they are not ethical, then it's a really big problem, and I believe boxers do not get the money that they should get in some instances because of that. So, but the problem is, if you make a rule that the promoter can't be the manager, people just get around it.
Yeah.
They'll just get somebody else to act as a token manager.
Or token promoters on a show in some instances.
You've seen that happen as well. So I think there's a real problem. I think the issue is for any boxer is to make sure, before you even look at a promoter, make sure you have a manager that's ethical, decent, and knows his stuff. And then the promoter becomes, they can then navigate you through the promotional routes. What happens is a lot of boxers are talked into signing management, promoting to the same person at a high level, and it can become a problem.
Do your due diligence.
You should be, and then it's difficult then to do due diligence because people are saying different things.
Well, that's true.
It's hard.
But if you have someone, like most boxers grow up with other boxers, they come through, and they're normally at different ages, different stages. You'd hope you've got somebody above you that you can, get a view from that has possibly been through.
But then do you not think you get a lot of boxers that have been through it? They then become managers, and they're the worst. They can be the worst scumbags ripping people off. So you have people that have been exploited, then become the exploitees.
Yeah, they've learned the trade.
Or the exploiters. So they've learned the trade of how to exploit. So you get these crazy things where that doesn't necessarily mean that they behave any better.
Yeah.
In some cases, give an example of somebody that has gone through. I think is really Kieran Farrell.
Yes.
I want to sound out Kieran because, and there are others. Kieran was a boxer who had a very bad experience. He's now a manager promoter. Really decent, honest, good man.
Yep.
And he's an example of one that has gone through and is doing it the right way. Just like a shout out to Kieran because he's great.
Final one from Anthony Ridley. Actually got some more after this, sorry. What does Steve think to the current Box Nation situation? Would you look to try and get Goodwin shows onto that channel? So from my understanding, Box Nation have now partnered up with MTK, so I'm not sure it'd be...
Well, that's what happened because they've made a partnership with them. I think a lot of it, forget about any channel, depends on what the arrangement is. And I think we'll just have a look at that in 12 months and see where it is and what it's doing. For me, but that's already a partner, so that's nothing to. We're not going to be having that deal with Box Nation. The issue is also, though, for me, is what is the deal? Because for me, for that to be effective, I would hope that none of the fighters will have to sell tickets. It should be purses plus ticket commission on top. If that's not the case, and it's basically small hall boxing shown on Box Nation where the boxers have to sell tickets, they're just going to find that they lose revenue. So it really depends on what the actual deal is. Are Box Nation giving MTK money, or are they just giving them the platform to showcase their shows? In which case, that's not advantageous to boxers, because the viewing figures on Box Nation, if you actually review them, are not great.
I've got an issue with Box Nation. It shows the same shit over and over again.
There's only so much you can show, though, isn't there?
I get that, but so I've switched it on maybe 3 times over the last couple of weeks, and every time I'm getting either Josh Warrington Lee Selby or Josh Warrington Kiko Martinez. I think I don't want that. I don't want either of them particularly.
The problem you've got is that if they're just showing MTK shows and the odd some fights from America, how many people are going to continue subscription that are independently that aren't paying to BT? Because if you're paying to BT and getting Box Nation free, if that's going to continue, I don't know if it is or not.
That's a good little setup.
That's okay. Yeah. But then they're not giving Box Nation any money, right? So therefore, if somebody's just paying for Box Nation on its own and not for BT, is there much point? I don't see the point in that. So are they going to lose all their subscribers to BT? Box Nation is going to be kept as a bolt hole, so that if anything goes wrong with the BT deal, you've kept the TV channel alive. And if that's the case, then there's no real revenue being thrown at Box Nation, which means, is it going to be such a good deal? I don't know any of the answers, but I think we'll see how it plays out.
See benefits from it.
Yeah, in the next 12 months, yeah.
Cool. Where are we up to? Question from Johnny G86. Given Linus's very good performances, I'd say we can all agree the kid is going place in the future. But do you guys feel he's now ready for the next step up to start facing some of the guys in and around in and around world level?
No.
And if so, who would you potentially see him fighting?
Absolutely not.
I'm not sure how serious that is, the world level element, but
he's ready. Look, Linus is ready now. We believe we're progressing. We've worked with Linus since he started. We've helped him to everything he's got. He's now ready for Southern Area 11.
Yeah, he's not Billy Joe Saunders for September.
Absolutely not. But he's ready for Taylor Jones, who we have tried to make the fight with before. Hasn't happened. But he's ready for Taylor Jones now. And that's the level that we believe Linus should be hitting next. I think, in theory, I would be happy for him to win the Southern Area. Relinquish that because we've got another top lad in Brad Paul's ready to win the Southern Area as well. So I'm happy. Linus is now Brad's had a small little injury, so Linus will be delivered first. We believe he'll win the Southern Area and move on. Brad Paul's will come in behind him.
And best of luck, Brad. I see he's out travelling Europe. Yeah. He's staying offline for a bit as well.
Yeah, but he'll be there. And then Linus, I think next year will head towards the English title, and I think that's realistic. And then from then on, maybe Commonwealth or British title. But we are way away from that. But he's still learning, right? He learned on Friday as well, and I think we're getting there. But if you look at it logically, Lewis Ritson only had a really big fight. I think it was fight 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Linus is on fight 9. Lewis Ritson has the most amazing power, which neutralises. Linus doesn't have the power Lewis Ritson's got. He's got silky skills and a bit of power, but he will take a little bit longer to bring through. But I'm happy with that because you look at Josh Warrington, he's been brought through. So world level, absolutely not. But maybe in 3 years' time, that's where we'll be. But I think we can pick off titles en route now to bigger things.
Cool. Jacob Kilbride. What are the chances of Buglioni Burton 2 for the British, presuming Johnson vacates to fight Beterbiev?
Well, we were offered Buglioni Burton for the Commonwealth.
Okay.
That's what we were offered on July. So that was on offer. So that wasn't for the British, it was for the Commonwealth.
So presumably they'll keep hold of that British on Johnson until they finalise something.
No, even when they give it to him, if he hasn't got to relinquish the British.
No, that's true.
So he'll hold it. And Joe Gallagher fighters don't relinquish, right? So the only reason he'll relinquish the Commonwealth is because Joe Gallagher wants Burton to fight Frank. So that's the only reason that's about. This is all about Joe Gallagher and Jose Burton. Frank's just a pawn in that game, right?
Yeah.
So, but we're not playing that game. We're not there to fulfil the wishes of Joe Gallagher. So that may be a fight. It may be a fight that we do, but Frank doesn't really want to bother about the Commonwealth. He wants to fight the British.
Yeah.
So from his point of view, it depends on what. When he wins his next fight, he'll happily do a fight that means something, goes somewhere for the right money. But if that's Burton, he's paid enough, we'll do that. If it's somebody like Jake Bulford gets his world ranking, we'll do that. We'll fight anybody within reason, but it's got to be on our terms. We're not going to fight for a Commonwealth title, which is lower than the British, for much lower money than he was going to fight Burton for before. It doesn't make any sense.
If Frank won the British title, say 2 fights down the line, does he only have to defend it once now to keep it outright?
No, he gets it if he wins. He's only got to win it.
So he hasn't got. Okay. So
I think my understanding is.
I thought he had to defend it the 3 times.
You might be right. If he has.
So he'd have to win it and then defend
voluntary.
it, and then he gets.
You might. Oh, is that right? Yeah, we've never.
I thought it was that.
Do you know you might be right? He might have to do 3 defences, mightn't he? So
yeah, but I wasn't sure it has to be consecutive.
No, definitely hasn't got to be consecutive.
Okay.
So if you're right, then he's got to win it and defend it. So he's got 2 more.
There we go. Sorry, that was a bit off key.
Yeah.
What are we up to? 2 left. Jacob Kilbride again. Has Steve ever considered promoting shows up north?
Haven't got the fighters.
Haven't got any northern fighters.
Haven't got northern fighters.
Northern Luton.
And I think it's very difficult because if you imagine going up north, you've got people like Dennis Hobbs and Steffi Ball promoting up there, and they're much more closer to all the trainers up there. We haven't got the connections, so you could promote up there if you have got TV, but with us trying to rely on ticket sellers, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So we've concentrated on an area which is London, and we're going to be looking to do Bedfordshire, Buckinghamshire, this sort of area, because that's where our fighters are based.
Yeah, alright, cool, makes sense. Final one, Colin at CM Sports Agency. Which boxers, as part of your stable, are you most looking forward to seeing how they perform in the new season, prospects and established? Which I know is always a question that you don't like to commit too much to.
It's really difficult.
John Pilata.
Okay,
I enjoyed his debut. I enjoy a heavyweight. I enjoy someone who can hurt you, who can bang you out. But he did it with a lot of composure.
Yeah, I'm very excited with John. I think he is going to be really good.
Yeah, that's really going to be my first one. 1-0, so fits in that prospect category nicely. Tom Ansell, I think, is someone...
He's improving, right?
Yeah, we were chatting about this earlier. His weight drop from middleweight down to...
He's going to be light welter, isn't he, eventually?
Is that what his aim?
Super lightweight.
Super lightweight. I think that's fantastic. I think Tom has shown the way that he dropped Fonz Alexander Friday night, early doors. He's got incredible power. He's exciting to watch. I enjoy watching Tom Ansell.
He's great.
Other ones, Dion Juma. I want to see him progress. Maybe even a title fight of some sort. Probably in the new season. I think that wouldn't be impossible. I'm sure. I enjoy watching Duane Sinclair. I think he's improved the most out of all of your prospects. I'm kind of... Yeah, I mean, I know he's around the same number of fights now as, say, Linus, but Linus I give far too much time to on social media and things. He gets all of my love anyway, so sod him, he's not getting it now. And Brad's taken a bit of a gap period. But Duane Sinclair, I've really enjoyed watching Duane progress from that debut. I'm glad he's dropped his terrible entrance. Duane knows, I think, his entrance was terrible, that awful opera music that he had. But I think coming... with Joshua Boatsi progressing like he has, I think he's brought Duane along with him. Yeah. I think he's been brilliant.
If I'm going to think, I'll throw one extra in, Yusuf Kamari.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, he's exceptional. But there's so many.
Dean Richardson's
a mate. I mean, come on. I mean, I've mentioned him so many times on here. I'm trying to
mix it up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, Dean, we have got, under my management now, I'd say 25 fighters who are all going to win titles of various degrees.
Well, we probably mentioned 30 today, of which we've forgotten, or not forgotten, but not mentioned many.
It's fantastic. I mean, we've got a fantastic team, and we're expanding all the time. And it's great. I mean, I'm meeting somebody tomorrow. If he joins the team, it'd be another really great signing.
Good name.
Yeah. So it's really exciting going forward, and you've got some, Jack Hughes. He'll win a title at super flyweight. Jack, who won the challenge belt, but it's a case of these fighters of actually just managing their careers correctly and delivering the right titles against the right opponent at the right time. But it's so exciting. It's so exciting. The forward thing, the thing ahead, and that's why I don't want to talk, because I could talk about all the fighters. We'll be here for another hour.
Yeah.
So, but we'll leave it at those ones. But I'll put Yusuf in because he reminds me of the next Linus in terms of he's got the marketing right, he's got the style in the ring right.
Yeah.
He's actually, I can see him developing the whole outside the ring thing. He's working so hard at that. So you can see him being another Linus Udofia moving onto a TV platform, and he seems the most, at this moment in time, the most natural one to be the next TV fighter.
Yeah, agreed. Cool, I think that's it for all the questions. We've had a long catch up after a couple of weeks out, so
we're not going to be here for 3 weeks now.
That's it, you're off in Turkey.
We're going to be on I think we're back on the 10th. Is it 10th of July we'll be back doing this? It's on Tuesday.
Alright, excellent.
Next one back.
So we'll see you then. Hopefully you've enjoyed the catch up until then, and we'll see you in July.